All right, thank you. Welcome everybody to the February 18th, 2020 meeting of the Falls Church City School Board. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and Ms. Goodell, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Ms. Dimick?
Here.
Ms. Downs?
Here.
Ms. Litton?
Here.
Mr. Reitinger?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will you please rise and join me for the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I would seek a motion regarding the agenda. Ms. Dim?
I make a motion that the board adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Litton. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition or abstention? All right, then the agenda has been adopted. We'll begin with this week's Spotlight, Team FCCPS, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Noonan.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. We're so glad you're here. Tonight, it brings me great pleasure to invite up to the table some of our best and brightest here in the City of Falls Church. We have Katie Johnson and Mark Cofford. So if you guys want to come join us, that'd be great. Mr. Cofford and Ms. Johnson are outstanding physical education teachers at Mary Ellen Henderson Middle School, and their principal, Valerie Hardy, is here this evening. And tonight, the Spotlight on Learning is on the new Ninja course that came from a grant through the Ed Foundation for Henderson. And I believe tonight we are going to see some of it in action. So with that, we'll roll the video, and then the board may have some questions for you.
At MEH PE, we're always trying to come up with new and creative ideas to get the kids engaged and get them active. We saw a need with the fitness testing. There's a definite lower score in regards to upper body strength that we'd prefer to be higher. One of the ideas came about just the popularity of the American Ninja Warrior show. As a staff, we kind of brainstormed and watched the show and came up with some ideas and thought about this space because the Rock Room is very popular, but it also has a lot of open space that could be utilized. The Falls Church Education Foundation has the grant for teachers, and we wrote one with the American Ninja Warrior in mind and using this space, and it was amazing. We were rewarded with that.
There was no blueprint for us to actually go and follow this school down the road or this school in Iowa. As far as we know, we were the first group that has planned on implementing something of this magnitude. It really started with just a couple of Google searches, kind of figuring out what type of equipment there was out there.
We are limited to do what we can in the room because we are sharing the room with our wrestling team. And once the wrestling season is over, we can start our phase 2 and even phase 3 of the Ninja Room. Students have really enjoyed the first phase, but as they're hearing what's to come of the different types of equipment we're going to be putting in there, they are very eager and ready to see what phase 2 and phase 3 looks like.
First day, I thought it was really cool. I was really excited to see what was going to be added to it because it wasn't quite finished on the first day. We just got to kind of test some of the things.
As we watch our students use this equipment on a daily basis, it's still that learning experience for us. We're showing the kids option A, B, and C on how to accomplish the goal and the task that we've set forward. And students are actually using their creative minds to challenge themselves, challenge their friends, and they're using the equipment in a safe yet completely different way than we had ever even thought of.
Before the Ninja Room was made, my favorite part of PE was using the rope because it was challenging and fun. I like the Ninja Room because there's more variety of options I could do and more challenging things.
The Ninja Room creates an inclusive environment for our special needs population, which gives them ways to increase their coordination, their balance, their motor skills, and also allows them to be with their peers as they are in our Ninja Room.
What you see behind us today is like phase 1 and a little bit of phase 2, and more stuff is coming in the future after wrestling season and when the new building comes, the new George Mason, which will be great. It'll be nice to have this room full-time like Ninja Rock Room.
I I am sure there are going to be questions because that was awesome to watch. So I will turn to other members first. Ms. Dimick.
Hi. I've told Mr. Cochran this before. My son loves the Ninja Room.
He's full ninja.
Yes, he's trying. So at the end, you left off with when the new high school's built, the Ninja Room will the Ninja Room be able to? We have to take down and put up.
Yeah, currently, that's what we're doing. Let me back up. I start by saying Mr. Nottingham sadly couldn't be here tonight. He has a sick newborn and a sick wife, and he's on the mend himself. So he wanted to come, but I said, nobody else wants to get sick, so stay home. We're all dodging that. So, so unfortunately, one of the realities that we have is that we have to set it up every single day. And those wires that go across and the tight ropes and the slack lines that are called, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to set everything up every single morning. And the gray mats, as you can see, are mobile, which is great. That's one of the best parts about those. But we are setting them up when we've been doing that unit, and we're kind of in a mixed unit right now. But when we set it up every day and then break it down, and eventually phase 2 will be this year when the wrestling season concludes, and everything can stay in there. We won't have to take it up and down every day, which is ideal. And then eventually, when all of it's done in wrestling, and they can, the new school wrestling is going to have their own facility, which I'm so happy for them that they have like a full-size wrestling facility. So at that, we'll be at phase 3 before that happens, but that's just the idea.
Ms. Lynn?
I'm just curious, is this like a unit kids do for a while, or is it something you're able to use all year round, or how does that work?
Yeah. So with our student population this year, of our class sizes bigger, we have that space utilized throughout the whole year, and we kind of do rotations. There are 3 classes at a time, Mr. Nottingham's, Mr. Cochran, and myself. So to utilize the space in the gym, we will utilize that room on a continuous basis. So we definitely have started it as a unit, but then progressively going throughout the year, so to utilize it. Yes.
Mr. Reidinger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, first off, that was totally awesome. But I'm really annoyed because...
I know what you're going to say.
Well, first off, my kids all leave MEA.
Yeah, right.
They don't get to
They're all
go to
gonna say
field
that
day
behind me,
anymore,
too.
right? And not going to field day is maybe sad for them, but it's super sad for me.
I know,
'Cause
right?
It was always my favorite thing every year. But this is great. I wish you guys had thought of it 4 years before. Quick question: Have you thought about like reaching out to the show to see if they want to come and do something on it?
Well, I mean, we thought about the idea of, kids. Some of them, I can already name like 5 or 6 that seem to have the skills that it takes. The one thing about the show is that they make it look so incredibly easy when you watch that. And then the reality from a teaching standpoint with our population, so let's say 665 kids, there's probably 20 kids that can do, you saw the slack lines, for example. They can do the slack lines without the bottom tightrope, like only about 15 out of, let's say, 660. So the other 640 are using the rope and using the bottom part, and it's kind of they're building their upper body strength, and some are progressing. But, I think in the grand scheme of things, maybe in the future we'll have a kid try out for it. I know it's coming to D.C. Some of the kids have already come to me and said that it's coming to D.C. as this year's the new television cast is happening there. So, who knows what could happen? We could maybe have a ninja team or some point, but, down the road, I guess. Yeah.
So I have a neighbor who is actually trying out for the Ninja Warrior show that's coming to DC. They've already put their application in, and he's going through the process of preparing and training, and I've reached out to see if he can maybe come in as a guest speaker for our students, just to kind of talk about how to perform and how to train and just well-being and wellness. And so I think that would be a great thing for him to come in and kind of take us along his journey of preparing for this, and just to kind of see what we've done for the kids. So that's a goal in mind that we have planned.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I loved watching it, and I think everyone by reading any type of information or publication on fitness, more and more strength training is something that we should all be doing more of. So I think, especially for our kids, that's a little intimidating. So I think to do it like that is great. They don't even realize that they're building that upper body strength because they're having fun. And I loved seeing students from the special education classes really doing something fun and working on their coordination. When you move into the new high school, do you anticipate that you might need more funding to round out the course?
I don't believe so at first. The space, the original plan that we had set up and the items that we had picked fit that space pretty well. And I think we've made some modifications with what we thought we'd purchase later with the idea of how things are working and how it's kind of turning out. Thinking about in the future, just the wear and tear on the equipment might be an issue. Right now it seems, knock on wood, to be very, very sturdy. And so, I mean, we kind of spent extra money on those pieces, like the gray mats, for example, are very sturdy and they're getting a lot of wear and tear, and just the flexibility of them is great. So that's something to think about in the future, though, like to add some new wrinkles or something like that. Absolutely.
Anyone else? Otherwise, I'll say one of the, I love that video, and I'm liking this idea of trying to get somebody to come in who's already connected with it to sort of really get that fired up. I'm wondering about how much flexibility do you have, and when you watch with how the students are interacting with it, in adapting things and changing the course up and making it sort of react to how they're approaching, you know, how they're actually using the course, and make it more challenging as they've done it more often so they don't get used to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, with the first day and the students utilizing the slack lines in particular, we just told them just use the accessories. But then they themselves were coming up with really clever ways to push themselves and to challenge themselves. They were doing it with their eyes closed. They were skipping one. They were going backwards. They were challenging one another. So it was really great to see that for themselves to come up with those ideas. And we were just kind of encouraging them and piggybacking on that with different ideas of ourselves. So with those slack lines, we were able to make it a challenge for them as well. And for those gray mats, they can move, they're mobile, so we can challenge it for different distances. We can stack them so that they can, you know, do vertical jumps as well. So we definitely have that fluidity of mixing it up. So, yep.
Awesome, thanks. Any other last thoughts or questions? Thanks for coming out, and thanks for sharing us.
Thanks
Sharing
for
that.
having us.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you very much. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we will move on then to 3.01, receipt of public comment. We have quite the audience with us tonight, which is really exciting. And I've got, let's see here, something on the order of about 10 different speaker slips. So I'm going to just go in the order in which I got them and actually reach out to first speaker, Sean Dakin. And I'll just say, Mr. Dakin's coming forward, in accordance with School Board Bylaw 2.30, the time for each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, and additional written statements may be submitted to the clerk for dissemination to board members and for the record.
So I sit here?
Yes, please, and use the microphone. Thank you, sir.
Great. All right.
And
thanks.
go ahead, give us your name and address for the record. Thanks.
Sure. So my name is Sean Dakin, and I'm a 10-year resident of Falls Church City, and I live at 124 Whittier Circle over by Larry Graves. So I'm here tonight as a current parent of a sophomore at Georgia Mason High School and a past board member of the elementary PTA, as well as a lead room parent at Thomas Jefferson. I'm specifically here to ask that the school board consider requiring all parents to acknowledge and read a statement that they must lock up their guns in the home. We must, as a community, work together to ensure that our schools are safe. Keeping our children safe in school means that we all must take responsibility in our homes. Our homes must not be the place where the next school shooter gets their guns because they're angry. Kids are impulsive, and they may make poor decisions out of anger and sadness and even fear that can lead to tragic consequences. Let's ensure that this is not our kid. According to the Asking Save Kids program, which is done by Brady and the American Association